I have restarted my fitness journey more times than I can count. This time, I've got to get it right. So I'm making sure that I am keeping it simple and just going back to what I know has worked for me before. I am by no means an expert, but I have been through those beginner and intermediate stages of lifting before, at least a couple times now. So I just got to go back to what I remember has worked for me in the past and this time follow through with it and see where it can get me. So today I do want to talk about my simple plan that I have set up for myself to follow in order to once again get bigger and stronger. I want to first talk about the routines I'm doing and what I'm eating, as well as some habits that I've been working on to help just kind of make it all easier for me. So, as for my workout routine, lately I have been doing a modified version of Jim Wendler's 531 program. It's a great program. I do like the progression scheme to it, and it's worked very well for me in the past. It seems to be good for beginner and intermediate lifters who do want to make some strength gains at a little slower but still a steady pace. I have done it before, like I said, about a year ago for a couple months at least, and I did make really good progress on it. So since then, I have been very curious to get back on it and just see how far I can actually go with it. So if you never heard of 531 before, basically each day you are going to focus on a big compound movement. That typically would be squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press. And for the working weight, you're going to be working with a percentage of a percentage. So you'll take your 1 rep max or the estimate of your 1 rep max for whatever exercise you're doing that day, and you'll times that by zero point 0.9 to get 90% of your 1 rep max. This is, in my mind, mostly to account for anybody bullshitting their max or just not estimating correctly, and just to make sure they're not lifting too heavy of weights at the start of the program. It just really helps to kind of get the ball rolling and make those first few cycles of it a little easier for you. So that number that is 90% of your 1 rep max is going to be what you're going to be using for your working sets. All right, so as you can see, I've pulled up a chart for the original 531 program just to break it down a little more in detail. So all these percentages here, once again, are going to be a percentage of a percentage. So example, week 1, working set 1, 65% for 5. That is going to be 65% of 90% of your 1 rep max, and that goes for all of them here. So week 1 is going to be 5s. So working set 1 is 65% for 5 reps. Set 2, 75% for 5 reps. And then working set 3, 85% for 5 plus. So the plus is just going to mean as many reps as possible. So that first week, first time you've done this should all be pretty light. So you should get hopefully anywhere from 7 to 10 reps for that this first time doing this, which is good. But you don't want to reach failure, so you want to do as many reps that you feel like you can do without questioning whether or not you're going to get up the next rep. So if you're at 9 and you're questioning, you don't think you can get that 10th rep up, you shouldn't go for it, because you don't want to be failing too many times doing this program, because doing that is going to kind of fry your nervous system, and it's going to be a lot harder for you to keep progressing if you just keep failing week after week once you get going on this program. So it's very important to train just to failure, not actually hit failure. So for week 2 is 3s, so 70% for 3, set 1, set 2 is 80% for 3, working set 3 is 90% for, again, 3 plus, as many reps as possible after 3. And then week 3 is 531, where the name comes in, That is 75% for 5 reps, set 2, 85% for 3 reps, working set 3, 95% for, again, 1 plus, so 1, and then as many reps as you can do after that. And now for the original 531 program, they do have on the 4th week a deload week. I do not do them for mine, at least not right now, because I have just started. So I don't see any point in doing a deload week. I am making progress just fine, skipping over the deload week and just going back to repeating week 1 after I do week 3 with more weights, obviously. Later on, I could see the need for deload weeks once the weights start getting heavier, but right now it's just not necessary. So I have been skipping those. So after you've done a 3-week cycle, you're going to repeat it, go back to week 1, and for all your upper body movements, you're going to add 5 pounds to the weight you did last time for that set for upper body movements, so overhead press or bench press, and then you're going to add 10 pounds for any lower body movements. So yeah, after your big compound movement, you're just going to do your smaller accessory type movements, kind of fit those in however you want. I've got mine laid out in a way that I think works pretty good for me right now. But that's basically the 531 program with me attempting to describe it. But if you found it interesting at all, like, I definitely recommend doing some more research on it and maybe even try a version of it out for yourself, because I've really been liking it. But for mine, I am only doing bench, back squats, and overhead press. The other 2 days, because I am going 5 days a week, I am doing either leg press or hack squat, and then I also threw in another day for me to practice my bench press a little bit more, because for me that has been the exercise I have struggled on far and away the most to make any sort of progress on. It's because I've got these long ass arms with my skinny little deer bones, so any amount of progress I have made on bench has been very hard fought for. But as you probably noticed, I do not have any deadlifts in my program right now. That is because it's purely out of preference, really. I have done them before, but I just had never gotten really into them. I can see myself potentially adding them into the program later on down the line, because there is a part of me that is a little curious to see how much I could deadlift with a little more time and practice into it. But as of right now, I've just kind of kept them out of the program. For this 531 program, I do not have any specific goals on it. I'm more so just kind of using it as a way to kind of get back on track and build up that baseline on myself again. But I do not also know how long I'm going to be doing it for. It could be something I run all year, or it could be something I stop after a few months. Just depends. I could get bored or plateau on it, and then I might want to try something else. But I do have some goals I would like to accomplish for this year. Obviously, I am trying to get bigger, but I also want to get back to squatting 315 for reps again. And also, I do want to hit 225 on bench. That is a milestone I had just never hit before, and it's still haunting me. So I think I've got to make this year the year that I finally do that, to kind of get that weight off my back. And as for my nutrition, my current plan, I guess, is a bulk of sorts from now and probably through this fall. Right now I'm about 155 pounds, and I do want to be closer to 170 in like 9 or 10 months. So that would mean I need to gain about 1.5 pounds a month for that period of time, which it's a pretty gradual, easy weight gain. I'm just trying to keep little slow increases. I do only eat around 2,500, I think, calories a day, which isn't that much. I have eaten much more in the past, but I'm just trying to kind of keep it on the lower end and increase it as I see I need to. If I start hitting any plateaus or I just notice my weight's not gone up for a little while, then I'll start steadily increasing those calories. But as far as like protein is concerned, I do only aim to hit at least zero point 0.7 grams per pound of body weight a day. If I do end up eating more than that, which I typically do, then cool. But for me, that is just making sure I'm eating at least 110 grams of protein per day. Right now, for my meals, it is pretty easy. I have not been struggling to get the amount of calories in. It's not that high, but for breakfast, it's pretty light. Typically, I'm just going to eat a few eggs or some Greek yogurt and berries and granola, something simple like that. And then for my lunches, I usually do meal prep them, so it's going to be something chicken or beef based type meal with some pasta, rice, maybe some potatoes. And for dinner, lately I have been very fortunate. My family makes reasonably healthy meals, so usually I just have what they make for us. And 9 times out of 10, that takes care of my nutritional needs for the day. Sometimes I'll have a little snack at night here or there just to kind of fill in any gaps that I see. But like I said, I've eaten much more in the past bulking, so it's not been difficult getting in my nutrition. But I am just, like I said, keeping it kind of on the lower end. I don't want to be gaining any unnecessary fat too fast over summer, so just kind of keeping it slow. But for supplements, the only thing I've been taking right now is creatine, and I will be staying on that probably throughout the duration of this. I haven't been taking anything else. I might research some other stuff later on. Probably nothing crazy, maybe some vitamin D, a multivitamin, or fish oil, something like that. I'm not going to be trying anything weird. I don't want to be pissing away my money just taking stuff that it's really going to give me no real benefit. And speaking of things that benefit me, like my habits. So I am weightlifting 5 days a week, Monday through Friday right now. I know generally it is recommended to work out at least close to the same time every day to help make a routine and a habit out of it, but I haven't been able to do that lately. Right now, I am on my off days going in at about 6 a.m. And on days that I am working, I go right after work, so around 3:30 in the afternoon. So far, it's been working okay for me, but if I do start noticing some problems with consistency, I am prepared to kind of alter my days and try to find a time I can go in that is the same every day. But another big focus of mine is sleeping. It's always been very important to me. I try to really prioritize it. I do seriously notice that when I give myself a 9 hour period that I can sleep in, and I'm going to bed and waking up at close to the same time every day, that I just have a whole lot more energy throughout my day and during my workouts. And it really helps with my recovery and just muscles healing and all that. But another thing is progress tracking. That's a big thing with me. I have never really been into like progress pictures, but I do really focus on making strength logs And going off of that, I like tracking the weights I'm doing to make sure I'm keep progressing in my strength. I have gone before without doing that, and I feel like that was a really big mistake because I I mean just keeping any sort of record like on your phone, whether that's on an app or even if you got to do it on a sheet of paper, I just think really should not be overlooked because if you are able to see your progress that you're making, it's really motivating seeing that you're now using your warming up with what your working sets were months beforehand. It just really helps keep their mind going and just seeing the picture and then that you are actually making progress towards your goals. And then just seeing the weight you lifted the week prior also can keep that in your mind as a way to motivate you and make sure you're pushing yourself and have like a goal in mind during each set. Like I try to get so many reps, keeping good form, and just make sure you're continuously progressing and getting stronger because I do think strength and size kind of do go hand in hand, at least in some way. But to get stronger, I'm really just trying to make sure I am progressively lifting heavier weights, staying in a small calorie surplus, and just making sure I am consistent with my workouts and habits I'm doing that really do, at least to me, feel like they're helping me. But if you are on a similar journey to me and you're trying to get back into weightlifting or remake progress or first time make progress, just really got to be careful because there's a lot of information out there. And I know personally for me, for when I first started, it's extremely overwhelming. It kind of don't know where to begin, but I mean, just try not to overcomplicate things, kind of keep it simple. But most importantly, just got to stay consistent. And if you've got any advice for me on anything I've covered in this video for me or anyone else, definitely write it down below. I'll be sure to look at it. But for me, that's all I got today. So keep moving forward, and I'll see you later.